reading music. After 3 weeks of this instruction, Mr. King's 6th grade students were finally ready and eager to receive their instruments. In September, Mr. King passed instruments out to his students, and through a very long and exhaustive week, he took the time to show each student how to put together their instrument. Now the students were ready to play their first note as a band and make their very first sounds together. Mr. King asked his students to turn to page 4 in their book and to look at exercise number 1. He asked them to look at their fingering chart, checked each student to make sure that they had the proper fingering and hand position, and then asked all of them to play their first note. I bet it sounded something like this. As you can imagine, Mr. King immediately realized that he had a lot of work to do. After a few days of working with the students, the noise that we previously heard finally started to take on the characteristic of a musical sound. Mr. King, will you have the beginning band members play their first note again to show the audience the vast improvements that have been made? After learning 4 more notes, the students started to progress through their method book. The goal at first was to make sure that each student could make a characteristic sound on their instrument while learning to move note to note. The band is going to demonstrate this by playing their 5-note warm-up sequence. Next, the band learned how to play shorter notes and change from note to note faster. Then it was time for them to play their first playing test, a short song designed to show that they had mastered their first 5 notes. Now it was finally time to play a recognizable melody. One of the first songs that the students learned is Hot Cross Buns. Hot Cross Buns is an English street vendor song. It would have been sung by a person selling hot cross buns on the street. Many kinds of food used to be sold in this way. The person selling something would sing about what he or she had for sale. This song is featured in many beginning band method books because it's a recognizable tune and only has 3 pitches. The students were very excited to play this song because they were getting to play music that they recognized. Let's hear the Carolina Springs Middle School beginning band's version of Hot Cross Buns. Now, having mastered whole notes and half notes, it was finally time to move to quarter notes. To play quarter notes, students have to articulate or learn to play longer passages of music on one breath, while interrupting the airstream by using their tongue. Many times, Mr. King will have his students tizzle through the exercise. Mr. King, will you have the beginning band demonstrate the art of tizzling to to the audience using their first exercise that contains quarter notes. Nice work. Now I'll let you in the beginning band play this exercise. Next, the band learned about a musical phrase. The students have just recently learned that a musical composition is very similar to a written composition. However, the sentences that a musician uses are called musical phrases. As our beginners start to mature as musicians, they will learn how to shape a musical phrase. Let's hear the beginners as they perform the American folk song, Go Tell Aunt Rhody. Well done. By this time, the students were enjoying playing music with only 5 notes, but were still very eager to learn more and more notes. Satisfied that his students could play their first 5 notes confidently, Mr. King taught his students their 6th note. The beginning band will now play the French folk song, Au clair de la lune, or By the Light of the Moon, using the new 6th note. The band is made up of 3 large families of instruments. They are the woodwinds, the brass, and the percussion. We will now hear each section played separately so that you can hear how each family of instruments blends into the overall sound of the music. First, we hear the brass. As you can see, the brass instruments are played by buzzing the lips against a metal mouthpiece which vibrates through the entire instrument. The brass instruments are the trumpet, the French horn, thank you, the French horn, thank you, the trombone, thank you, good job, and the baritone, thank you, and the tuba. Thank you. The woodwind instruments, on the other hand, produce sound using either a reed or an open tone hole at the top of the instruments. We will now hear the woodwind section, after which we will hear the woodwind section leaders demonstrate their instruments. Woodwind instruments are the flute, thank you, the clarinet, thank you, the oboe, thank you, and the saxophone. The bassoon, thank you. Nice job, Woodwinds. Finally, the percussion instruments are played by striking the surface of the instrument with a stick or a mallet. Right now, all of our percussionists perform only on the keyboard percussion instruments to make sure that they are learning to read notes. However, they are now beginning to branch out, and at the end of the year, we'll play the snare drum, bass drum, and cymbals as well. The percussion will now play. Thank you. Most recently, our students have learned to play eighth notes. Eighth notes last for 1/2 of a beat, so the students must be very accurate as they articulate the notes. The 6th grade band will now demonstrate eighth notes. The beginning band will now perform the holiday favorite, Jingle Bells. As a listener tonight, I hope you'll agree that we have much to be proud of. Our school systems focus on academics with a strong blend of arts, activities, and physical education offers our children a balanced and well-rounded educational experience. From that first note we heard tonight to the number we're about to hear, my congratulations to our musical performers for their rapid learning and their excellent progress. Congratulations also to you, Mr. Key. The beginning band will now conclude their performance with the first piece of sheet music. Sheet music is written for the full band where each instrument has its own independent part. The beginning band will now perform Chorale and March by Sandy Feldstein and John O'Reilly.